Hello. Hello.
Karen!
Hi, how are you?
Great. How are you doing?
I'm good. Sorry, I came from the beach. I'm still in my shorts, but I opened a fancier bottle of Knobs
Knob
Creek.
Creek.
Yeah, Knob
Legendary.
Creek.
What
Yeah.
beach were you at?
I was at Melkbos Strand today.
I love that.
Yeah,
Do you
beautiful
surf?
beach. No, my son does and my drummer does, but I do not. I do not.
Would you ever?
I try, but I'm scared of the sharks. I'll rather
Oh,
do the stand-up paddling. I'm scared of the fish that want to eat flesh. And you?
I am a very consistent bad surfer. I've been surfing for like maybe 10 years, 15 years. I'm still shit at it, but I love it. I still go every week. I'll never get better. I'm just
Nice.
at that level. So you Knobs Creeking. Listen, I've actually got a bottle that I'm sending to you of this limited
Wow.
edition 2007 Ben Riach. And the idea is, well, there's no reason for it. That's just the idea behind the podcast.
What is Ben Riach? I don't know it.
It's just, so what I try to do is for every show, I try to find a different nice bottle of whiskey for the person who I'm drinking, who I'm doing the show
fabulous.
with. And this one is rare and classy.
I never heard of it.
Well,
wow, thank you, John.
Cool.
Yes,
I'm sorry I didn't get I think the alcohol lockdowns confused a lot of how the show was operating. So I'm still trying to figure it back out again.
Okay.
But you'll get it. You'll get it. But
I'll meet you on the corner of Kloof and Long Street.
In a plastic.
Just bring your brown paper bag.
That's it. Cheers. Lovely to see you. Thank you.
Mwah.
I know how busy you are. And I was just checking. I asked you on Thursday, September the 17th. Was when I first.
Oh my gosh, terrible. Sorry,
no, but
John.
I get it. No, don't be sorry. Lovely to have you, and really, I'm excited to have you on.
Me too. Very happy.
This little show is doing very fun things. I mean, I'm having such fun with this. I've tap danced around you for 20 years in this industry. I don't think we've ever really worked together on anything, although. I do remember, I'm sure I've told you this before. Do you remember the first day I ever met you was at After, right? And this is my memory of it. You were still, I was there to see Jono. I think I had a guitar with me at the time.
Jono, my drummer, your friend, my first.
Yes, Jono Hall.
My new drummer is also a Jono, but that was
right.
Jono
No,
Hall,
first Jono Hall. And
Jono
this is
the
my
gentleman.
memory. You kind of went like, okay, all right, you got a guitar. Can you play that thing? Cool. Okay, you come here. All right, so all right, okay, put the guitar amp there. No, that's where my guitar amp going. You put your guitar amp there. Okay, the chords are E and A. Okay, Jono, you play. All right, John, you play E and A. Go. And I was like, but there's no people. Okay, you guys, there's a show happening. Come over here. Okay, all right, here we go. Uppercut. It's Placera. Okay, cool. All right, guys. Okay, you guys can go. All right, you pack up that stuff. Okay, I'm gonna book a gig tomorrow. We're going to play at Roxy's tomorrow. Okay, go. And then out you were. I was like, what? I don't even know what happened.
Right. So we played.
We played a gig at After to the people that were there, but you were on a mission. You know
what that was, John? I can't believe it. I was playing with the band. Then that was at the end of the show. Then you jammed. We did a jam. And I obviously pulled you into that. Was it that?
I don't know. I don't think you were. I don't think you had done anything yet.
Because
I think you were just figuring it out.
No, you know what that was? We had a deal with a label, and then we invited everybody to After. We invited all the when the record labels were still record labels, and you had to have a.
Were you studying at After, or were you just there to play a gig? Right.
I studied film, and then then I got we just mailed all the record labels and said kind of like there's this thing, and then they all came to that thing. That's where I got signed.
Really?
Yes.
So basically, thanks to me.
Thanks to you. Thanks to you. I was signed to a small independent label. Remember Paul Rickert from Battery 9?
Yes,
I
yeah.
was signed to his small label.
Was it Melt?
And
What was that label called?
Echo Records. It was
Echo,
called,
right,
and
right,
with
right, right.
him and Christian Fourie, and we did some stuff. And then I realized I need to, at that point, if you really want to break, you needed a major label, and so I moved towards a major label, and that was the event where the major labels came to.
Amazing. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I just thought it was an impromptu. I wasn't there for
No,
that.
that's probably why I was stressed, and I was like, "Come here, because there was a lot, and there were people there. Like Barney Simon came, which was a big deal to me.
Really?
He's still a big deal to me. Yes.
Yeah, he's a king.
Were you drinking on that day?
Well, I can only guess that I most likely was. I don't think I was expecting to be part of what
In a
you.
show.
I think I was sort of walking past. I don't actually know.
I'm pulling this closer. Is that
All
working?
right.
No, it's too
One.
close. I'll keep it there. I'm on my child's computer, just saying my nice computer's at my studio. I did a thing in my studio and I was too lazy to pack up all the. I also have a fancy SM7B like you. But now I'm on a Neumann. If you want a song, I can sing a song.
Whoa, you got a Neumann on there. Tell me about. So I've never seen your amazing studio. I just know it looks fucking believable.
Yeah, it's so lucky to have it. It's hard in a pandemic to be in the arts, but yeah, we've done amazing things this past year. We've done amazing things. It's a TV studio for the biggest part, or a film studio, 400 square meter. And then I also have like my jam room there and a little sound studio set up.
It's not at your home?
No, it's a big building in Philadelphia. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, you must come.
I want to go back to, because what I was trying to, so the connection of the dots is I've just bumped into you here and there. Always astounded about how you navigate, how you operate, always surprised. But I remember from the very first day how serious and how driven you were. Like there was no bullshit about where you were going and what you were doing, and then you did it, which is incredible, rare quality. So I wanted to understand a bit more about where you come from, maybe how you like that was really, I mean, yeah, I know you know this, but the way you've done stuff, to me, you're like you're a new age Johnny Clegg, because you just the kind of soul that you do stuff with is incredible. And also the reason why I really pushed to have you on this is because I spoke to you briefly during lockdown, and anything, you're open to anything. You're supportive of everyone. You really are like a rare thing in this industry. I hate everyone in this industry. So
you don't talk shit. You don't.
Well, the industry part I do. But when I remember chatting to you that day, we just had a chat, and I was just like the how sort of open-minded and how you able to. That's all amazing. I'm a big fan of what you do. So I just wanted to understand
how much have you had to drink. Why are you being so kind to me? Huh?
What?
Show me the bottle. Let me see how full it still is.
It's brand new. What are you talking about?
Oh my God. Oh. So what do you want to know? Ask me anything.
Who was that person I met 20 years ago?
20 years ago, I had just gotten off drugs. I was a teenage drug addict. I was addicted to heroin for 6 years.
When did you start heroin? How old were you when you started heroin?
14. I was So
I was. That is big.
Yeah.
14 is young. How did you get into heroin?
Trouble at home, troubled households, and rebellion. We had a difficult childhood. Grew up in a very affluent suburb in Johannesburg, but mother died when I was 9. Father remarried very quickly. 6 weeks after my mother's death, my father had brought a new woman in, and they had some problems, and it was very difficult. So it was difficult at home, and I felt very alone as a child. I recently actually started going to psychologists. I found out I've got complex PTSD because of my childhood.
It does, I mean, if you were doing heroin at 14 for 6 years, that's not surprising.
Yeah. So there were issues, and I mean, but I mean, I don't want to be disrespectful to my parents in any way. It's life and it's difficult. My father, two children, 9 and 7 years old. Wife died. It was back in the 80s when men went to work and women raised children. Made some decisions.
First, are you close with your sibling?
Yes, kind of, yes and no. It's difficult.
Right, I won't push that button.
We've got a complex family dynamic. Always have. So for me, music. First, it was drugs, which almost killed me, and then music became my escape. When I took drugs, I felt like I had no pain, I had no worry, I had no anxiety. I didn't feel any pain, and but of course, that ends. And then when I found music, I found belonging, and I found like-minded people. Like I felt like I found my tribe. And when I sing, even to this day, or play guitar or write songs, and that expression, I really believe it helped me a hell of a lot in, living, to be able to be a human being with issues. It kind of saved me. It really did. And I wanted to, when I was a child, my father was an economist, and he went to work every day with his suit and his tie, and I just knew there's no way I could do that. I wanted to be in the arts, and I wanted to live a life of expression. And I was really sucked in the beginning, as you know, 20 years ago. And I still don't think I'm that great. I mean, but I've had a few good ones. I mean, sometimes, you get it wrong sometimes. But it is for me a drug. It is for me an absolute... it makes life worthwhile for me to live a creative life. And I wanted always, since the beginning, very beginning, is to imagine if you can live your life doing what you love and sharing what you think, and if that could be how you make a living. So for me, that was always the prize, and that's why I don't take it lightly that I can call myself a musician or an artist, because you have to fight for it. I think a lot of people don't realize that. I realized that when I was young. I don't know why, but I could see it's difficult to be an actor or successful. It's difficult to be a successful actor, own a home, and those kind of things in the arts. And so I just, anything to stay out of an office. I just didn't want to have a 9 to 5, or I didn't want to have a boss. And I just wanted to prove something. I think when I was very young, I wanted to prove my parents wrong. And then I found myself through music and came full circle.
Did your dad know you were on drugs?
Yes, I was in rehab many times. I tried to kill myself, and I was a terror. I tried to kill myself. I didn't want to live. I was in at least 3 or 4 rehabs, and came out immediately. Took drugs again. No, they tried to get me to speak at Sanko once, and they thought I was going to give this beautiful, motivational speech. And I just told everybody, look, I know all of you, you're liars. You'll sell your granny's soul. And if you don't want to stop, you're not going to stop. So I'm standing here, and maybe 2 of you are going to quit in the end. And it'll probably be because somebody died, and it's your pride that will stop you from. It's a terrible thing, and it is a disease. And I've changed a lot over the years. I mean, I'm not that harsh anymore about it, but sometimes just because you've suffered of a thing does not mean that you are the best guide to get somebody else out. Because it's, to be honest, the only reason I think I actually stopped, so many of my friends died, and I tried to kill myself. And when I came close to death, I actually realized I'm scared. I don't want to die. And when I realized that life is really short, then I'm going to live. So what am I going to do? And I want to have a nice life. So it started off in that way, and as I went on, I realized how lucky, what a narrow escape I had, and how grateful I am to be alive, and how grateful I am to have people. Because when you're a drug addict, you have nobody. Your parents don't even want to speak to you. So I started with nothing to lose, which I won't call it a gift. It was very hard, but I had to. There was no expectation of me. Expectation was I was going to die. My father told me your mother had cancer, and I had to come to terms that she's going to die and you're going to die.
So your father says that to you. How old are you when he says that?
About 18, I think. And so
what,
these things.
What's the moment where you stopped doing drugs? I mean, the Karen that I sought after. Is it something you realize? Okay, if you're going to do this, you're on your own.
That was post. Yeah, that was post drugs. That was post.
How did you stop? And
I had such a big fright. I almost died. I overdosed, and I almost died. And I said to God, if you give me one more chance, if you just give me one more chance, I will not
become
stop.
The biggest
I won't
star
throw it away.
On
No, man. But I said I won't throw it away. I realized how precious life was, and it's very hard. It comes down on you like a ton of bricks when you go through the recovery of how selfish you actually were, and how little respect you had for your own life and what you actually did to other people. It's people don't realize this. They think, okay, now someone goes to rehab and it's 21 days and you're clean. But it's extremely difficult to live with. I lived with guilt for many, many years and very low self-esteem for many, many years. So in the beginning, I was trying to prove, look, I'm not a bad person, which is not a healthy starting point. But nevertheless, it got me from A to A plus, and then eventually to B, And so, yeah, if you just take those small steps, eventually, you look back and you're like, oh, flip, actually, I'm not there anymore. And then, but look what's over there. And yeah, so it went like that. Just happened, I guess.
More than, much more than your career. You said your ambition was to become a musician for a living, but you've done, you're always doing stuff for the industry, for other people. You're a spokesperson for so many things. Is that guilt related, or have you got a mission?
No, I have a mission. I believe that the arts are one of the most important industries, and it's because I'm an artist and I know what it does. I know what it does to people. It is think about it. You go through a breakup, your friends can talk to you, but you know what? When you walk on the beach and you listen to that song and that something carries you, something otherworldly, or you go to a show. How many epiphanies I've had while listening to music or being inspired by a book that pushed me towards that, and helping people to feel. That's what we do as performers. People struggle to say how they feel, and so they go to shows and they watch movies and they listen to bands, and that's actually your job. So it's a very important part of being human. And like I mean, I can see it now in people. There are no shows, there are no plays, there's nothing going on. You can look in the street. It's not just the pandemic, but there's no gathering. Even church is like a performance, with respect. I'm not knocking anything, but it is a performance. It's people coming together and somebody's speaking and people are listening and they're engaging and they're greeting each other and they're finding other people that are interested in the same thing. So the arts bring people together that wouldn't necessarily come together in another way. Cross-religion, cross-sexuality, cross-cultural, cross-continental. That is the power of art, And so I'm just drawn to that. And anybody that tries to do it, I will support. And we need to educate, unfortunately, people about the fact that it costs money and that we have to support. If you do not support artists, they will not exist. They cannot.
We have no infrastructure here. I mean, and I think that's why the Karen Zoids of the world are rare, because it's not good enough in this industry to be a great artist. You also have to be a business person. You have to build all the infrastructure. You have to learn everything. You have to manage yourself. You also have to understand how to be a record label just to get past the first hurdle.
Well, you don't need to know everything, but you need to know. If you don't look, I really don't load my own stuff on. I've got people that help me with a lot of things, but that's actually that is actually the thing that people think you got to do everything yourself. It's like, no, you have got to take that pie and split it. You have to share. And people are greedy and they're like, I'm not going to show anybody my work, or I'm going to do everything myself.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's the small. But when you actually do it in collaboration with somebody else, with another brand or a person or an artist, think about it. You didn't get to where you are in life just because of your mom and your dad and your school teacher. So many people influenced you knowingly and unknowingly, and that exchange and intersection creates something. So no, I don't know everything, and I have a studio, but there's a lot of stuff I don't know of, but to get the right guys involved, and actually it's more about just getting the right players to make something together. I know I'm never going to be a lawyer, but I have a lawyer. I've got a few lawyers that I can call on, and musicians don't think like that mostly. They don't even consider to let a lawyer look at a contract when someone makes them sign something.
Well, that's the bit that's normal. That is the thing. Well, what I meant was if I don't know, but I'm talking about the Karen Zoid who was just starting out. It seemed your ambition and your drive and your ability to pull things together and make things happen. Because there is no I remember we were once with Cassette in Holland and we met this guy who was a rapper, and he didn't have any. He was getting paid by the government to live in Holland and write raps, write poetry. Because the government goes, we understand that the arts is an important industry, so at least there is basic infrastructure and a place for emerging artists to do stuff and have opportunities. And again, feel free to disagree as you have, but I don't see the place where emerging artists can find opportunities without creating them for themselves.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that's why back then, going back to that time, I started out, I worked at Kippie's at the Market Theatre that Yuma Sakela owned. And so I knew, when I was still trying to
What were you doing there?
I was working in the kitchen. I ran the kitchen for him. Yeah, I ran the kitchen, and that's where I saw everybody. I saw Moses Malaleko. I saw Brenda Fassi. I met his sister. I discovered African jazz like that. Then I started going Then I started going to Baseline when it was still in Melville. And Johan Smith, who is a bassist, he used to be the doorman, and he always used to, I used to busk at the bottom of the road, and then after busking, I'd come in and he'd slip me in. And then I saw the most fantastic bands. I mean, that place.
I think Dave Matthews played there a few times.
Yeah, Stimela played there. Rodriguez even did a small set there. I was there the night Rodriguez did a small set there. We all played there eventually. But
Ray Peary played there?
All of them.
Stimela is one of my favorite of all time. Ray is my hero.
Oh, even Johannes Kerkhoff. I mean, it's like late 90s. He was in that kind of electronic phase. I watched him there. But that's where I realized, hey, wait a minute. This is how it works. These guys do everything. This is how it works. You've got to get but we come from the same time. We started playing music in garages, and it was more just about to play and get a gig. You never worried about money. And I think
you just need enough money to get to the next gig.
So we just wanted to play. A gig in itself was a gift. It was like wow, okay, we're a band. We've got a gig, So that was what the culture was like at the time. Wings Beat Bar and Bugsy's and Joburg had quite a few amazing venues at that time. But I realized these guys aren't making money. These brilliant bands aren't making money. And I spoke to my father, the economist, who had by then forgiven me because I was studying and I was having a band and whatever. And he said to me, you know what? why don't you, who makes money in the music industry? And I said, ugh, man, it's like Steve Hofmeyer. It's not at all what I'm trying to do. And he's like, go onto Steve Hofmeyer's website and see what he does. And I was like, okay. And I'm like,
Spoken like a true economist.
he says, and he was playing Sunny's-Hof, Bloemfontein, and Prisha Lewis was doing really well. They were here, they were there. And then all these fantastic bands that I loved were mostly, Sugar Drive, but they played Joburg and then a little bit there, a little bit. But these other guys were touring. And that's when I realized, okay, you got to build a little machine. You have to have the same guys if you don't want to go back, because they're backtrack artists and it was easy for them because it's just one guy. And then I thought to myself, well, if I can do what they do, but it's a real band, and we go play those small places, maybe another offering would interest some of those people, because the small town thing is like, there's nothing else. It's like rugby. Maybe they've got one bar or like a bride home. So if anybody comes to a small town, you actually get people, if you're an unknown, it's I think it still actually is. It's a simple way to get people to come physically see you in person. But sometimes people these days, because of Instagram and social media and these perceptions that people think they're too cool for actual venues. That's happened. So people, they won't play the SCO, but they want to play Raptor Room. But Raptor Room's only got like 50 seats. It's like, fine, you can play in the Raptor Room, but if you wanna pay rent, go further. And you never know, maybe there are amazing people in Welkom, and there are cool people that listen to not only Patricia Lewis and Steve Hofmeyer, they listen to other bands.
Early on, you said something weird that I just flagged in my brain, and then I just penny dropped now. You said in those early after days, you said when you were just getting started, getting on TV was hard. Was being on TV something you wanted to do from early on?
I was a drama student at art school, so I love performing and I love drama. I love drama as much as I love music. The TV show came about later. It was actually Karen Meiding. She just said, you always chat to everybody. You're such a good conversationalist. Why don't you do a chat show? And then I said to her, okay, but I don't want it to look like Taina and Torsels. I'll do it if I can do it the way I want to do it. Maybe I'm not the right person. And she was like, okay, you can do it the way you want to do it. And it took a few years, but then eventually we had the concept and then we made it. But I love talking to people.
Cool.
Thank you.
Well, that comes across.
We love it. We love making it. I mean, I'm really interested in all of the arts. If I could, I would dance, but I was always a fat little ballerina. My friend Mandy was like the flip, and she was the swan, and the teacher. I had the headband, I had the jersey with the thing, I had everything, the little things that come. And then every time I go to the class, she said, Karen, staan net 'n bietjie terug. Mandy, come forward. Karen, net 'n bietjie terug. And at the end, I'm like right at the back. And I just couldn't crack it. But I think dances are the best. Don't you?
Absolutely, and I also feel this. I'll tell you something. I don't know why, because I was small and shit at it, but I was picked for the. I was the A team. I was put in the A team of my rugby team, right? But I was crap at rugby. I don't know how I got into the A team, and I was the hooker. So because I was the little guy, and we never won a game the entire season, except for the one game where the opposing team's school's hooker was sick, and I went to hook for the opposing team, and our reserve hooker played for our team, and that was the one time that the team actually won when I wasn't on our team.
Oh,
so I know,
flip.
I know what it means to be.
The feeling.
Yeah.
At the back of the classroom. Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, but I appreciate all of it. I mean, I love painting. I just love it. And I just think it angered me as a child, maybe because it was an Afrikaans school. And then I went to art school, but it used to anger me as a child that sports were taken so seriously. And, people got street cred for playing sports at school. And I mean, I love sport. I'm a big sports fan. But the art's always kind of like on the side, but the difficulty level it's not easy. to do the stuff that Lionel Smith does, or what Patricia Lewis does, or what Ray Peary did. It's not easy. It's a craft. It's a discipline, just like rugby. But it also gives something to people, the way that sport helps us escape our daily, ordinary, boring problems. That's what art does as well. And sometimes actually feeds the soul, feeds your mind in a different direction. It's not just an escape or adrenaline. It's maybe the teaching or a philosophy or a feeling or an enhancement of an experience.
I wonder why that is, that people don't recognize that. I know at my school, like if I wanted to start the netball hockey combo association, it wouldn't have been a problem. And I started the band society at Westerford High School, but I had to fight tooth and nail because it wasn't nobody appreciated that shit. But if I wanted to do pigeon throwing, I would have got that society up in 5 minutes.
Yeah. And we were always bullied at school. The arty kids were always kind of like weird, or you're not really, why are you so loud? Why are these guys doing that? It was kind of, and now those same sports people are buying all these expensive things.
Yeah, now they're sitting at their desk on the 7th floor, wishing they were you.
Oh no!
Oh no! Johnny Clegg.
Oh, Johnny. I miss him a lot, eh?
Yeah. Tell me about your relationship with him.
Okay, but like everybody, Johnny Clegg, before I ever met him, was a hero to me. Like, he changed my life. He changed my life. My mom died when I was 9, and Cruel, Crazy, Beautiful World came out. And it was this cartoon, and I felt like that song was my song, man. You got to swim in the river with the crocodile. You got to, wash in the river with the crocodile. You've got to swim in the sea with the shark. It's a cruel, crazy, beautiful world. I mean, I just thought that was, as a child, and with that cartoon video, I remember the video with all the cartoons.
Very clearly.
And I just thought that song that is the deepest, most meaningful song I've ever heard, because that is life. Here I am, my mother died. And it's Cruel, Crazy, Beautiful World. And that song, some people have tattoos and they mark something with a marking on their body. And for me, like, certain songs are like that. So that song was a life changer. And the Jock of the Bushveld. So, I mean, remember, in the crossing in Jock of the Bushveld. And I just always loved the fact that he was not afraid to just be different, and he found a way to be accepted by the most conservative people. It's the same thing that Casper de Vries has achieved this in his career. Peter Dirk Uys achieved this in his career, where it's actually they're doing controversial things, but somehow gain commercial success. Like the very racist Afrikaner guy will sing Impie.
Loves Johnny.
Loves Johnny. And Johnny was this gentle. I love those kind of artists where they don't need to speak about it. They just, by their work, they're gently nudging people out of their predestined phobias and, judgments. That's what Johnny Clegg was for me.
Was he was he aware that that's what, I mean, I did a documentary on him in 2002. And what astounded me about...
I'm going to have another tiffle. Am I allowed to have a second drink?
Keep going. If there's anything left in that bottle, I consider it a failure.
Okay. I'm having a smooth one. Yeah.
But I do know the thing that astounded me, and I'd always loved him, but when I did this film with him, I saw there was no this was not by design. This wasn't an idea. This is who he was. He lived and breathed from a kid. There was nothing weird and different about what he was doing. It was what he was doing. And then... But
it's true. And it was natural. And he became a dancer and he went to the hostels and that whole journey of his... But Johnny Clegg was an intellectual. And that not many people realize. Johnny Clegg was an intellectual, highly intelligent, well-read man. And he did know what he was doing. Mm-hmm. He did, and he was just trying to have fun, but he did know He knew. He taught kids at Wits. He was a lecturer at Wits, anthropology, all these things. You could sit with that guy. Literally, he's
Him
like
and
Max.
Skulk would have gotten on.
Him and Max de Pre, if those two people, you ask them anything about South Africa, they know everything. This battle took place there. This tribe works like this. That was that year. And it's an absolute passion, like Skulk. Yeah, it's the history and culture. He was inculturated into our country because it was not just the music, not just the dancing, the history, everything to him. It was his absolute passion, and he wanted to enculturate himself in that. And that's why it wasn't weird. Any other white guy jumping around doing those stick fighting dances would have been fake. But like you say, it was who he was, but it came from, he was a student. He was a student of history, really. And so, one of the most clever men I've ever spoken to, and just brilliant, man. The way he went to France and cracked it, and America.
He's got 1 million albums in France.
Yeah, and he was like touring. And I was in Nashville once, and he was like on tour, going from Memphis to this. He just took these. He was a brave guy, just brave, and he just did it, and he wasn't afraid to stand alone. And so that whole thing of Johnny, I want to cry when I think of him. But it's like he was a man, and that was his mission in life, was to be a man. And he studied Zulu culture and that, and it was all part of it, being a man and standing strong and doing your thing. But also, fatherless boy. His real father didn't even know him. Arsehole. Never knew what a brilliant kid he had. And then Johnny did that with that bad hand. He took the house down.
Familiar story.
No.
And can you tell me, you don't have to betray anything, but how he was in that last year?
He came to visit me in Cape Town, and Jessie and him were in Cape Town, and it's so funny. We went bike riding, and Zelda's bike was in my garage. I have lots of bicycles in my garage. Zelda had a bike there, and I said to Johnny, "Shit, I only have a girl's bike. It's Zelda's bike." It's like Madiba's PA's bike. It's a girl bike, but
Zelda,
it's a cool
Zelda Lagrange's bike. I didn't realize that.
Cool. Yeah.
I want to come back to why you have Zelda's bike, but we'll get there, because that seems to be a story by itself. But carry on.
No, she just keeps her bike there. She lives in Onderus with the bicycles there. So here we are cruising down the road. We're like on the prom and whatever. And then we're riding, and it was so cool. It just felt like we're kids. And he was telling me about his rally bike that he had in Joburg, and he used to cycle on his bike. And once he ran away from home when he went to Admiral on his bicycle. His mother almost killed him. And it was so cool. And then we just rode down the road, and we were all like kids. And my son was with me, and it was Jessie and me. And it was like the four of us on bicycles cruising. And then we went for ice cream. And we sat on the pavement. Everybody else was in it. And we sat on the pavement talking about our bicycles and our childhood gangs that we had when we were like kids, eating ice cream. And he was like, "Oh, this is a great song." And then we were like singing, "I want to ride like the wind, ride like the wind." And we were just playing. And that was the very last time I saw him in my life. And it's a precious memory. And he came, and we sat on the balcony, and I poured a gin and tonic for Jessie, and then Johnny said, I said, "Johnny, must I make it?" And he said, No, I'll have tonic water. It's actually very lacquer, just like this, It was, and he knew it was coming. He told me, this is a funny thing when you know you're going to die and how much time you have left. He was very open about it. Brave till the end. A brave man. I don't know. It's all I can only hope that I can get to my grave in the way he did, that my son can see me facing it. Because we all got to go there. And Johnny he didn't want to go. He was pissed off about it, frustrated with the whole thing, but knew. And he said to me, "No, we have to, let me drink the tonic water. Let me know those last things he did." And, Jessie told me he got very, very sick after that. It was a year long.
Was it the tonic water?
Hopefully not. No, it wasn't. It was the pancreas cancer. And a year, a very difficult year. But he fought. He tried to stay for his family. I don't know why the good people always have to die young. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Amazing.
I don't understand why he had to go. Many other people. I can think of a few that could have gone by now.
The guy was Squint who was reading the list. By the way, this is my version of a light-hearted, fun interview over whiskey.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Sorry.
No,
We're all gonna die, guys, eventually.
Finally, that's
out of the blue. Yeah.
Nice. That's amazing. I mean, special. Wow. I mean, cool. Let's try and do something. Okay, so I see you have this new collab out with the Lovo guys and AB de Villiers. That's fucking awesome.
That was my lockdown.
We'll get project. To best collab you've ever done, followed by worst.
Oh, don't make me say that.
I'm gonna.
No. I can't single out one collab.
Maybe not necessarily the song, I guess the experience. Because collabs, collabs is... it's my crutch. I spend a lot of time in the collab space, and they can go either way. I'll tell you the worst. I'll tell my worst collab story ever. I don't think I've ever told this story because I had to cheat. I lied about it in the video we put out.
Oh, okay.
During MashLab, I've never told this story. I'm actually feeling pain that I'm going to tell it. But fuck it. MashLab. The idea of MashLab was to put two people together. The fans voted for them. Do you remember MashLab? Yeah, so like artists, so Toya DeLazy and David Kramer together, right? And I was so excited about this because I'm such a big fan of David Kramer. And Toya DeLazy would say things like, "You tell a 20, just because I'm 22 doesn't mean you can tell me what to do." And David Kramer was so on point. Like they were writing this song together. And she just was like, I don't get, it was actually one of the cuckest songs we ever did. And David Kramer was pressured into doing what Toya wanted to. She just diva'd the shit out of it. And I felt really bad because it was such an amazing experience working with him. He was such a gentleman. And even in that space, he was like, I've got an album in me. He was excited. And I think we just left that going like, fucking disaster. I've never said that out loud, but now it's out there. But... So I'm saying like
Toya. I love Toya though. I love her.
Toya's amazing. I love Toya
like
too.
It is.
Yeah. I think it was
maybe it was the wrong place, wrong time, wrong pair.
And MashLab was challenging because there was, artists like to work when they feel something, I feel the connection, but MashLab was like, it doesn't matter whether you're feeling this. We've got a week to put this thing together, so make it work, So that's why I say I'm giving you that context to say that the song doesn't have to be cuck. It's the experience. It's like sometimes not easy. So best and trickiest. I'll let you out that way.
Oh my word. Okay, the best one. I'll make it simple just to keep my life simple because I've done so many. But I think the first one I did was with I know he hasn't been on the Republiek van Zoid Afrika yet, but it was the first time I did this, and that was with Louis Mashlanga. Louis Mashlanga and Nick Turner, yeah, I love it. And we did Gino Samisa, and then he did Afrika. That was the most incredible show. It was just me and Nick and Louis, and so Nick with his kind of like folky, weird tuning, nylon string guitar, and then me with my stuff, and then Louis with his jazz, and it was such a great show. And then we won a little prize, like at Kaka and Ka, and we were like, what? There were like 5 people in the show. But that made me realize, geez, there's actually a need for this because the few that came, it wasn't a sold out show or anything, but we had like 5 the first day, 30 the next day, and the last show almost like 140, whatever. It was a small venue, but it was what an art festival should do, kind of like you hear about it. And the 3 of us just had like an incredible time. And I just realized, flip, if you do this, you learn stuff very quickly because the guy shows you, oh, you know that funny chords, it's actually easy. It's these two fingers that you use and you slide it down. And I was like, oh, flip. And I thought, embarrassed to play with, Nick and Louis as guitarists, they're on a different level. But I found they're telling me, oh, how do you sing like that and do this? So I was actually showing them stuff they didn't know. And that's when I realized I want to do more of this because this is fun. I'm going to get better and I'm going to meet all the nice people and do. But the trickiest collab was probably with Jan Blom. I won't tell the whole story, but Jan was in a bad place when he came to my show. He's had a few bouts with some substances and things. It was difficult. He was in a bad place that day. So it was hard. But the song came out amazing and it went to number one. But it was a difficult day. Patricia Lewis also gave me grey hair when she came on the show. But I'm glad because I said to her, we should do an 80s number, like something fun. And she was like, no, I want to do First Time Ever I Saw Your Face. And I was like, First Time Ever I Saw Your Face. I've never ever heard this song. It's an old jazz song. And she said, that's the first song I ever listened to. And that's my parents used to listen to that. And that's a song I want to sing because... that turned me on to music. Yes, see, and we had to learn the song, and I was so irritated because I was like, I know what the people want, and that song was gorgeous. And I mean, she did what you're saying, what Toya did. She overrided me, which not often happens, but thankfully because
I can imagine that's quite hard
gorgeous. To do. No, it's actually easy. I mean, I don't want to put anybody into a definitely not. If anybody comes on the show, they have to be. It's about them.
It's actually harder if you're the host of the show because you've got.
It is harder.
Yeah.
No, we spend a lot of time and effort on the show. Pre-production. I mean, I do more sermons before the show to the crew. Our whole thing is we celebrate people. There's no. If you think this person is common or you think that person is an arsehole, I don't care. They are queens and kings when they walk through that door, and it's all about celebrating that person. We bring them in here because we are highlighting all their greatness and showing that's the point of Republiek van Zoid Afrika, is to showcase to the public the amazing talent we actually have. And you think Patricia Lewis is this, and then she comes on the show and you realize, flip, she's got a kid that's got her son is this math genius dude. He went to Seoul and he was number 2 in the world in his age group. Patricia is a genius, I tell you, and people think she's a ditzy blonde. She's a ditzy blonde, but she's a genius. She just wants to look like Barbie. She likes to be Barbie, but she's a rich Barbie, yeah. And she does what Barbie. She wants to do. It's very smart and very creative, and she's just living her own truth. And that's why I'm a friend. I mean, I love her. If I want business advice, do you think I'm going to go to anybody in the rock scene? No ways, man. We're all like, I've got a Patricia Lewis who lives in Zimbabwe with a flip. But everybody in the golf course has got a green golf course. Patricia's got a black one. No, it's full on. She just designed her life the way she wants it. She's a brilliant mind. Really, she's. Her style is just very different from mine. But yeah, she got what she wanted out of life. Yeah. She sucked the marrow out of life for sure. Just like Johnny Clegg,
So I'm gathering from. I mean, it's obvious in retrospect, but like my biggest drive in everything, all the work that I'm involved in, is that I really think that our greatest African stars have been fucked over, and they're all struggling heavily. So, like during lockdown, so I guess this is a pitch because one of the guys I'm working with is someone like, do you know Pops Muhammad, right? Have you ever? Mm-hmm. So Pops. His history is crazy. He brought traditional African music to the world. He's mates with Quincy Jones.
Speaks German. Have you heard him speak German?
I've heard him speak German.
Fluent German, yeah.
But in lockdown, the guy went from a self-sufficient man with lots of gigs to totally broke to zero rand. He lost his son during lockdown. Oh, and
from COVID or what happened?
Not from COVID, it was some other circumstances, and other mad shit. And it's just these oaks are so relevant. Their stories are so awesome, but I don't know how you get them into the space where they're recognized again. And that's a lot of, I mean, also, I just spoke to, I've been working on a month on an interview, which I've done two bits of with Steve Kekana, who's living in in Limpopo on a, in the middle of nowhere with very bad reception. And I sent him cash for data of which the person, because he's blind, the lady who looks after him stole the money and then ran away. So we had to stop doing the interview. I'm still trying to get the next half of the interview. But go on to Spotify. His song's got 2.5 million streams. The guy's got 60 albums.
Yeah.
It blows my mind. And I wish, I mean, you're doing all those things. You must carry on doing those things. Obviously, you don't need me to tell you.
No, I'd love to have Pops on the show and Steve Kekana. I mean, I'd love to have them on the show.
Something with that. The guy is 71, and in lockdown, he learned live streaming. I taught him how to live stream, and he did like gigs every other day. He was using Busker just to fucking buy food. It's crazy.
Heavy, man. That's heavy. Yeah, it's our industry is disrupted. It's broken. It's not going to go back. My opinion on that is, I don't know. I just want us to transcend the mentality that we have. And I'm not now talking about Pops or anybody that's fallen on hard times, but we like musicians, we're like eternal children. We're like the favorite child. People always like, someone picks us up. Oh, you get a free thing. Flip, here's a bottle of, like I'm just talking to you and I'm going to get a free bottle of whiskey for doing an interview. I mean, what other industry, if Momentum speaks to some special, listen, by the way, thanks for doing it. We're going to send you a bottle of whiskey. These things happen to us. So we've had a lot of good times also, but we avoid we all suffer from that Peter Pan syndrome. And I do myself, which is why I say, I do not have it all together, but I freaking hang around with nerds and I try to become a nerd. I am a nerd. My band is a nerd band because I have to fight for my right to perform. And I think, these things that musicians do, because we're so emotional and we're so impulsive, that sometimes people are their own worst enemies, like get a lot of cash and buy a car. If you knew a financial advisor, he would tell you, do not buy a car with money if you need to invest or if you're trying to save. And so, I'm also not a very logical person. I literally did my 8 multiple intelligences test, and logic is my second last intelligence. I think music, language, intrapersonal, interpersonal. But I just want to say that
I don't buy that.
We've got it is true. It's Skulk as well. Skulk was second last logic. Doesn't mean you're stupid. It just means the way you think. The point from I think in terms of music and language and interpersonal, like we're talking, or is that intra? I'm not sure. And then inside. And there's visual, there's kinesthetic, like actors are kinesthetic in their bodies. And then it's amazing. It's a free test. Personalitymax.com, multiple intelligences test. Amazing. But this blow your mind. Do it.
Bullshit. Because how can you?
It's neuroscience.
How can you and Skulk? I mean, your career path is exceptional. The diversity and some of the decisions you've made, and I, just how I even see you handle online situations and shit. Like you have a very clear vision of where you're going. In my opinion, you can say no, I don't.
Yeah, I do. I have a clear vision, but I'm not alone. I'm not a one-man show.
No, I'm not taking away from your team, but I'm going back to the days I met you, and I don't know you. I do not know you, right? But the few incidences, you seem to have a fairly clear vision of the direction you're going, and you don't entertain things that distract you from that, and you're fairly consistent on taking the steps
Yeah.
that need to get taken to get where you need to go. To me, those are illustrating power in logic, because if you were purely an emotional beast, you would be like me, which is like any fucking thing that's shiny,
No.
you'd be off doing that. I've had 700 careers, and that's just last week.
No, but that's why you need a manager, because that's what they do. All they do is they go, "Do you like your car?" Because I'm like, "Oh, I want to play at this party. I want to do this." And the manager goes, "Do you like your car?" I'm like, "Yes." Do you want to drive that car? Or do you want to get a lesser car? No. Then you cannot do that. You can do this. And then this is the bottom line. And then it's one conversation and I have to think about it for a long time. Okay, good. I know I am taking your advice. And I think most of the time people ask for advice and they don't want it. And I learned that on The Voice. Like when I was a coach on The Voice, you know, people come and they ask you, how do I get into the music industry? You tell them. You can see they're not listening because it's not the answer they wanted.
Yeah.
No, anyway, the 8 multiple intelligences, the 8 intelligences, do it on personalitymax.com, the multiple intelligences test. It doesn't mean I don't have logic. It just means when you process information, the first point of entry for me is music. Second, language, speaking to you. I like people and insight. But somebody like Henry, my guitarist, who's a virtuoso guitarist compared to me, he is music, then logic. So in certain situations, when I'm trying to do a schedule, I realize, stop and ask Henry what the best plan is. Then Henry says, no, but just do it. And I'll sit there for an hour drawing pictures and thinking, and Mr. Logic goes, oh, but this is the quickest way or the easiest way and we can communicate. That's all I mean with logic. It doesn't mean I have no logic. Of course I do. But
I mean, how smart
a logical mind.
How genius do you have to be to ask the most logical guy how to sort your schedule out? That's the logic I'm talking about.
No, that's lazy. That's just fucking lazy. Like, please help me. I don't want to do it.
Hold on a second. Defy this, right? Okay, logic. If I try to work this out myself, it will take an hour. So I'm going to ask the smart guy to do it. It'll take 6 minutes. That's fucking genius.
Okay, yeah, it is logic, but it's little. It's like standard 6 logic. It's fine. It's fine. I can just make it. I'll be fine. Nobody will look down on me. But I mean, Henry can look at a guitar fretboard and he knows C8. Da, 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 da. I don't. I just hear. I feel. I go this way. So I can be free. And Henry's logical, and he can say, "Oh, she's going that way today. So we're gonna." So yeah, some people are more systematic than others, and once you realize what you are and what you aren't, then you flip and glad when you find somebody that likes making lists. Like, because I don't make
lists. I'll be honest with you. Everything I've ever touched has turned to shit until I met this, my best friend and business partner, other than my wife, obviously, who had that thing that you're talking about, who understands how spreadsheets work, and understand when people explain to you how these things are supposed to happen. And I just go blah, 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 blah. And everything that's been 7 years I've been working with him now. And it's like, oh, now everything works. That this is a different ball game. So I totally get that. But
so to bring it full circle, the power of collaboration for me is in that when you start, you think this is cool and that isn't cool. I'm a little bit, you don't say it, but you think I'm a little bit better than Patricia Lewis because I can play guitar. But then I look at Patricia Lewis's bank account and mine and I go, then you have to go, she's a little bit better at numbers than I am. So maybe I can help her with a bit of the music side, but maybe she could be, and that is actually the full circle of collaboration. When the thing that is maybe your weakness, and you play it off as, that's not me. When you actually start admiring people who excel in the thing that you suck at, then you can actually build teams. And you can actually have a team, and you can have, this guy is the finance guy, and he's a rock star, and we all admire him. And that guy feels great when he walks in because he's our freaking hero. He's the guy that's going to come in. This guy is the lawyer no more do we think, oh, you're a boring guy, you've got a boring job. We're like, flippin', you can do what none of us can do. And therefore, but as artists, we're so used to people clapping for us. We forget we have to clap for other people.
Mm.
And if you don't clap for your people, what is the performance like? What do you feel like when you do a show and no one claps? There's no response.
Yeah.
You're gonna get this. But if you tell people, thank you for doing that shiver. I don't know how you do this. And show appreciation. Try and understand what they're saying. Because I'm like that. I sit I'll be at a bar and the guy's like, I'm like, hey, what do you do for a living? And he starts saying something in computers and my eyes go cross-eyed and I'm like, oh, fuck, what did he say? And I'm like, concentrate. Because I know it's just fair to listen because just because I don't understand what he's saying or it's a bit foreign to me, it's disrespectful to actually just go, no, that's not cool because that's not art. But it's like, and just our pandemic and now we need internet support. I'm on, what's this thing called? StreamYard, going through an app into another thing. Who do we actually need to help us right now? The guy at the Bride that I didn't listen to.
Yeah.
That's where we are now.
I've used up all my time, so I just want to do 3 quick questions for you. The first one is, just tell me why Zelda Lagrange's bicycle is in your garage. That's really, I'm not going to sleep tonight until I understand that part.
She has a house in Onrus and she does not have a garage big enough.
How are you friends with her?
I don't know. I've known her for many, many years.
Did you know Madiba?
I met him once.
You met him once. It was not a. So did you meet Zelda?
I think I met Zelda before that with PJ Powers. Actually, I don't know. Yeah, I met Zelda with PJ Powers at Coco and Co.
I just bumped into PJ Powers, and I'm having on the show. Do you have any questions for her? That's not one of my questions.
Ask her to tell you the story about when she drank the Flex hairspray.
Hold on. Where's my pen gone? Here we go. PJ, why did you drink the Flex hairspray?
Just ask her to tell the story about when she hit the point where she drank the Flex hairspray.
Were you with her at this particular moment, or is this?
No, that's it. That's when she stopped drinking. She drank the Flex hairspray.
Okay, so then, nearly done. So I tell you why. As I've watched your career, from what has always impressed me, and why I compare you to a Johnny Clegg, and why I think you are not, you are one of our true icons who are gonna be here forever, is because I feel that, I don't know what it is, that you have a very seemingly principled idea of what it is you're trying to achieve. And I think, I know having actual principles is not something that a lot of people know that you ought to have. The line is often gray, but you're always doing something positive. You're always working with people. You're always trying something new. What are the ground rules for that help you decide what projects to be involved in? And what are you trying to do with your career? Because at the beginning, again, you said, you just feel privileged to be playing music, but you have superseded that far beyond anyone else I know.
Oh, John, why are you so kind to me tonight?
This is not kind. I'm a big fan. I've been dying to just chat to you, because I think what you do, I'm sure you must know the impact you have on people and the industry just by the generosity and what you do. The way you zig and zag is crazy to me.
I when I do something is, look, in the beginning I had to fight for my right to party. No, to play with a live band.
My kid is 6 and is the biggest Beastie Boys fan in the world.
Yeah, that's cool. I love Beastie Boys. But no, seriously, I realized that people in the beginning, it was for me when I was very young, like, people don't know the difference between a backtrack and a real band and actual people playing the instrument, and actually spending the time and the effort and the discipline to learn that instrument and then coming together. And so that was a big mission for me for a long time. And I achieved that, I feel, through the show, that I wanted to show people without being rude toward the people that use backtracks, but to show, look at the gravitas of a real band. A real band. Feel that. Can you feel that warmth? You cannot recreate that. You can't. It was actually the guy, and he had at that moment, and then the singer did this. And so you can never have that. You can't have that if you sell out and just put in a CD or play a backing track, or you use a plugin. And it's fine. Sometimes people do that, but that's a passion of mine, and artistry, to make people understand that artistry is like martial arts, rugby, all these things. It's people dedicate their lives to mastering something that they know they can never master, and it's far more difficult than they're making it look. So, and I like that. So that was a big thing, and to inspire people to play real instruments. And other than that, I mean, yeah, I'm working on this thing now in lockdown. I started a project with Faith Popcorn, and I'm doing an album in New York, and I never ever thought I would do in my flipping life. I'm so excited. I'm drawn to things that are real, authentic things, people that try. I will always rather back the person that is not there yet, but the intention is pure, the truth. In like a country song, they always say like 3 chords and the truth. To me, if someone is legit and they want to do this, or they're feeling it, and in a world full of bullshit and fake filters and fake news and lots of talking, if I find something pure, I'm drawn to that. So I will always try and endorse that and engage with that. If I see that, Francois and I, when we did To Fin together, it was just something so real. And look what happened with that. It was just the song became a hit. And so they say sex sells, money sells. What's the other one? Power, huh? But the truth.
Fuck, I don't know what sells. I'll tell you that. I'll give you that.
No, the truth. Like this, like something genuine, something real, something human. Because the world is going to be fascist and human. The world we're looking at now, we're looking forward. The angry people are going to get a lot more angry, and the chilled out people are actually going to just start taking hands. And so we're part of the second group. It's a lot harder because we're more. You travel slower when there are many people. But I do believe that is the way. I mean, like Vusi, you're also a big Vusi Mahlasela fan. I could think about how Vusi changed our lives, with over and over that story of Ubuntu. But I mean, that thing sits in your brain, the way that a maths teacher, I can never forget it. And every day in my life, I see the fruit of living that way. And he's changed me. I'm changed. I know that, and yeah, it makes a difference. So if you feel you have meaning, you're adding value, not money, but value to people, then it's fun. It's not like I'm trying to do stuff. It sometimes just happens, and I put things together. And then, okay, we actually did a thing, or we did a charity thing, or we raised money, whatever. But if it's real, there's a lot of times we get asked to do stuff that we say no, because it's not real. People are trying to look cool by doing something. Intent, like your thing, this thing we're doing now, it's pure. You just want to talk to people, and I can feel it. So
I'll tell you, I fuck confession. I'm confessing to you a lot of stuff because
I love it. I love it. The red is very Catholic church here. The red thing on the screen makes me feel.
My biggest regret, that I'm very late bloomer in life, very late. And I tell you, the one thing about cassette that I always regret was, and it's quite hard because I actually know that the guys listen to this. So I don't think we were trying fucking hard, too hard. I don't think it was never fun for me anyway. Maybe it was. It was never fun because we had a mission. We were on a mission. And I don't think, and only much later when I did a stupid, an epiphany for me was dressing up as Disco Dave and playing Rockin' the Daisies for fun on this crazy Motown project idea that I had, and going like, oh fuck, you can just have fun and be
Yeah.
yourself, and you don't have to have all this sort of like people need to see me this way. People need
Yeah.
and that's been such a long, slow lesson for me to try and just be real when it comes to. It's why I don't know if you've ever seen my movie, Karen, but that movie, again, confession time. The character I play in that movie is who I see myself as in cassette. And I'm a biggest, I wrote a movie about the biggest douchebag in the world who is in this rock band who's trying to break the Afrikaans music industry, but he doesn't speak Afrikaans, right? But he's just trying to fucking fake it. And he is basically a shit to everyone, but his intentions are pure, but he doesn't know how to express that shit. That was the most cathartic thing for me, because for me, that was the first piece of real art I ever made. I was like, oh, I expressed myself very honestly. Like, if you see the scenes in that movie, I've said all the things in there, and I've really done all of those terrible, terrible things in there.
Wow.
But now with this show, I started this for fun, nothing else, and it's really starting to. And I immediately get back into like, oh, I need to do this, and I need to do this, and this is why I kind of chased you so hard, because I made one fatal error on this podcast, and that was I decided at the beginning, only talk to people you really want to talk to.
That's good.
And only really be honest and truthful in the thing. And I broke the rule once where I was like, oh, that person's got 1 million followers on Instagram. I need to do it. And it was the worst, most painful, and the part of this podcast series I'm really embarrassed about. And then I just went back onto my little thing. Like, remember, for me, that's always a challenge to do that, and something you have effortlessly done. Oh, hello,
no, not effortlessly. No. No, not
effortlessly done from the beginning of your career. I admire you so much, and I'm not just saying that to be to be the thing. I felt really. This is a highlight for me to talk to you and find out more about you, because I think you are really rare in how you operate in a terrible industry.
It's a terrible industry, but no, it's actually not. And I just want to say to you, you mustn't be hard on yourself, because the thing is, if you're a clever person, if you're a highly intelligent man, and it's very difficult to live in a world where you're an overthinker and you look at everybody and you realize, hey, I need to influence. You know what you want to do, and the same thing that you want to fit in, and you fit in. I don't fit in anywhere. Then you get that feeling. That's what you got. I got that too. So the point you go like, I don't fit in anywhere. And then you go, I don't fit in anywhere, so I can fit in everywhere. And the minute that epiphany, that changed my life. I was like, I don't fit in anywhere, I can fit in everywhere, because I'm not that cool. So I'm not going to be like the cool people in the coolest club, but I'm cool enough to get in. I'll do a gig and I will be like, what's she doing here? And I'm also not like completely commercial, that like, if I do this, and you know what? It's a gift. It's a gift, John. You have it. You have the same gift as me. We don't fit in anywhere, so you can fit in everywhere.
That's very sweet. I just want to say,
it's a present we got. It's a present. It's a curse and a present. And just do it, and love your wife, and just do what you want to do. So that if people think you suck, then you did something that means something to you. That's my motto.
I like that. I'll take that. Lastly, I have one question that I've decided to ask, but I'll get it. You said Sugar Drive earlier. One of the things I wanted to say about you is, if your career ever dies in music, which it wouldn't, I think you'd make a great stand-up comic.
Thank you. I love comedy. Oh, it's my passion.
I wanted to say,
watching comedy.
You mentioned Sugar Drive earlier, and the one thing that you share in common with Sugar Drive, other than like great music, is that Paul Flynn, when he set up the tunes between, I didn't care whether he played the songs or not, because the fucking stories in between them, the show was so entertaining. And I feel that at your shows as well, that the stories you tell are fucking hilarious, and that
thank you.
Sometimes I'm not sure if the music is like bracketing the stories, or the stories are bracketing the music. It's very cool.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, Jono is a motor. Remember, is he still? I don't know, but Jono's the biggest Sugar Drive fan in the world. I love
John
Sugar Drive,
Hall.
but we had to listen to Sugar Drive all the way to Cape Town. And we used to drive back then. There's no Kulula, nix like that. We were driving and the Sugar Drive albums. But I love Paul Flynn too. And Paul Flynn, same thing. Catholic boy, got bliksem by the nuns, issues with the Lord, doesn't fit in anywhere, fits in everywhere. It's okay. It's actually okay. And when you find your tribe, that's what I love about the internet now with these things. We're actually finding each other and you realize, that person that I thought was so together, they're not. They also didn't fit in anywhere. And you just want to fit in, but you don't want to fit in. And then one day you just go, fuck it. Let me just try. Let me try
Kids
live.
help.
Let me try be a human being. I'm going to do
it. Kids help because now they don't have a choice. How are you as a parent? Are you a good mom? I don't have any doubt you are.
I think so. I think my son is he's very academic. I don't know why. He's very, very academic and he wants to have his things in order because I'm so bad at administration. I think he's just like, he wants his stuff in order. He's a very creative child. Old soul.
How old is he now?
14. Very helpful. Plays guitar. Great guitarist. Great little filmmaker.
Is this his Neumanns that you're on?
I like him. No, this is mine. But I let him use it. I let him use my stuff. But I really like my kid. I've always liked him. Obviously, I love him. But I like him. He's a great person. It's so weird when they become teenagers. It's suddenly like not. You'll see. It's just weird. It's like your little boy, but then it's like this guy. He's this guy, and he's got these interests, and he makes these things. And so I just think that's our job: is if you can help them to love life, like the way Johnny Clegg helped me to love life with Cruel, Crazy, Beautiful World, and just show them, look, it's not always that great, and there's a lot of random, terrible things that happen. But have your passions, and so I think he's going to be okay. So far, so good.
Is he going to be a musician or an economist?
I think he might be a filmmaker. He loves making little films. Oh, maybe. But he's good at a lot of stuff. He plays drums and plays guitar. He's too shy to sing because I sing. He always says, no, I don't want to sing. And I'm like, you've got a great voice. He doesn't want to sing. He's got a little issue with that at the moment. So I leave him.
What's his interest in film? Is it making? Is it directing? Is it cinematography?
Oh, these Gen Z kids, they just make
They
movies.
do it all.
He makes animations from scratch, and he loves making music. We play guitar together a lot. Tennis player, but I don't want him to worry about it too much. I said he's very adamant that he wants to make money, and I said 2 years from now we decide. Just look at everything you're interested in and just play and be free, and but I think the younger kids actually have a lot of pressure to. It feels like all these YouTubers make $1 million, and they're under pressure to try. And I said, no, it's not actually.
Nobody in South Africa makes $1 million off YouTube.
Nobody, except maybe the Kiffners. No, I'm joking, not really. Okay, so listen here. I'm gonna say goodbye to you, but I want to say something. Let's do something one day from scratch.
What does
Can
that mean?
I ask you that? Don't come with the idea. I'm not going to come with the idea. Let's come together and one day on a play date, create something together. I would love to do that with you.
I would love to do that.
And we just think of something and we make something and we just do something just for lack of fun.
You've got to be careful making promises of that to me. Because if you notice, I've sent you 700 messages in the last 3 months and I'll follow up on this.
Oh, but I love playing. I love playing. Come and let's make something together.
I'd love to see your studio as well, so that's cool. But in exchange, you come see my studio in Joburg.
Okay, I will.
Yeah.
I will, John. I love you. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
I have one last question. I know you have to go. This is a one-word thing, and then you go. That's it. It's the only question I planned.
Oh.
Suggest a guest.
Suggest a guest. Oof, I'm not sure who you've had on. Name a few people that you've had on already.
Doesn't matter. Just someone you think has a great story that needs to be told.
needs to be a musician? You want a musician?
No. I did the guy who did that guy got kidnapped by Al Qaeda for 6 years, and I've just done an amazing interview willy-nilly, a guy I found on Facebook who's like basically started a business in Soweto swapping bikes for books, and now has started like biking culture in Soweto. I don't care who the person is, but it's got to be an interesting person.
Somebody that I really admire is Devi Sankari Govinda. She is from Carte Blanche. I'll give you her number. She is, and she's now got her own TV show. Her story is quite fantastic.
There you go.
And she's a great, I'll send you her number. She's fantastic. You'll love chatting to her.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Karen,
cool,
I love you very much. I have great respect for you, and thank you for your time. I know how busy you are, so I just appreciate it. Thank you. Go away.
Thank you. I loved it. I'll chat to you soon. Come visit me.
I will. All right. That's a date. Bye-bye.
Bye. 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 Bye.